So See For Me is basically every house sitter's worst nightmare, and it's a pretty good horror film. Hey everyone, this is David Stark from Watch or Pass. I'm here to talk to you about See For Me, which comes to theaters and digital on demand on January 7th, 2021. It's a new horror film from IFC Midnight that has a very clever premise and a really good execution. So my hot take is I really liked it. I really loved the performance of Skyler Davenport, and I liked the premise. I thought it was a pretty clever, good horror setup. I mean, it's kind of it's a known entity, but I thought that they did a really good job, and they had some twists in there because Skylar Davenport is visually impaired as an actor, and her character is visually impaired. So I'm going to talk to you about the film, a few things I like, and a few things I didn't like. There will be spoilers. There won't be a ton of spoilers. I'll try to keep it a little vague, but there will be some spoilers. So if you haven't seen the movie, definitely check it out. It's going to be available pretty much everywhere in theaters and on demand on January 7th, 2021. Check it out and then come back and watch this. But if you don't care about that, you just want to hear my thoughts, or you don't care about a few spoilers, then let's keep going. So in See For Me, you have Sophie, who's a young blind woman house sitting in a secluded mansion. She has a little problem early on, and so she uses this app called See For Me, which basically connects her to a person who can see through her phone's camera and kind of guide her if she has an issue. So Sophie's pretty independent. She can kind of do a lot on her own, but it's a new house. There's a few things that happen that she needs help with. And so she uses this app to connect with Kelly, who's played by Jessica Parker Kennedy, who helps her navigate through an early problem and then helps her later when she has a very big problem. As you'd expect, a person alone in a secluded mansion they're not really familiar with, something bad's going to happen. It's a horror film. And so Sophie has to use her own wits and the help of Kelly to kind of survive the night and figure out what all is happening and how to kind of stop it. So things I liked about this movie. So the first thing I liked is Skyler Davenport. I really liked her performance and I liked her character. Her character was a little more nuanced than you expect from your typical horror film. She wasn't this kind of like perfect person who was going in and just trying to watch this house. She had a lot of gray area around her. And some of her motivations were a little more shady, and her character was a little more flexible. I like that about her. It gave her a lot more layers than you would normally expect in a horror movie. The second thing I really liked is the opening. I thought I did a really good job of setting up the entire film. A lot of the setup and the main themes in the film are given to the viewer early on, but they're not kind of forced on the viewer. So you get a sense of Sophie's independence without having to like have her say anything, because you see her character and how she interacts and what she expects of the people around her, to know that she's an independent person. You get a sense of how secluded this mansion is, not because anyone really says it. I mean, I think they mention it, but you get this beautiful kind of overhead drone shot of this Uber car taking Sophie to this mansion, and there's just like nothing around her. There's this beautiful kind of forest, and I really liked that. I thought it was a great way to kind of showcase what is going on, but without forcing the viewer to like have some unnecessary exposition. And you also get a good introduction to the whole idea, the whole See For Me app from the start. There's an early interaction that forces Sophie to use the See For Me app, and that's how she meets Kelly. And then you get to see some of their interactions early on that then build to the big conflict in the film. And the last thing I really liked is just kind of the interaction between Sophie and Kelly. I thought that they had a really good rapport. They were fun to hear and see together on screen. You get a sense of some other aspects of Sophie's character. Her humor kind of comes out in this interaction. And you also get some backstory about Kelly and some of her history, although not as much as I would have liked. And their interactions are clever, especially when later on you kind of get this sense that Kelly spends a lot of her time playing first-person shooter games. And partway through the film, the entire kind of See For Me interaction where she's looking through Sophie's camera and trying to figure out what to do next did feel a little bit like she was playing a first-person video game, because she is, she's looking through a screen to see what's going on. The angle makes it look very much like a video game, and I thought that was a clever little premise and a way to connect their characters as well. So things I didn't love as much. The first, and to be clear, I did like this movie. I thought it was a very clever movie. I guess the premise had been kind of done in horror before, but I thought that the twist of Sophie being blind was a clever way to do it. And also I thought they did a really good job of building her character up and having a similar horror experience with this new kind of wrinkle put in place. But things I didn't love, there was this kind of second plot twist towards the end that I didn't love. I thought that it felt a little out of character for one of the people, and also it was a little predictable. It's kind of weird to say it was predictable, also out of character, but you kind of knew it was coming, and then some of the things that happened after did feel a little out of character for some of the characters that were in this kind of second plot twist. The second thing I didn't love is I wish there was a little more backstory for both Sophie and Kelly, specifically Kelly. I mean, Kelly, some of her backstory comes out. You find out that she's an army vet, but that's about it. I mean, it seems like there is more that she wants to tell Sophie, and more that is in her past, and it just kind of cuts off. I think part of that is a story, but I do kind of wish we learned more about her because she was an interesting character as well, and I liked hearing about her background and some of the things that she was teaching Sophie, and it just felt like that interaction ended quickly. Now there's a reason for that, but I would have liked to have a little more backstory if they could shoehorn it into the story. And the last thing I didn't love is there was a good time pressure aspect that kind of kept the story moving, kept things happening because there was this kind of countdown clock going. But towards the end, the countdown clock happened, but it felt like it was stretched to make the ending happen, to have some of the revelations occur and have some of the interactions happen. And I think at the end they had like 4 minutes or something, and it felt like a very long 4 minutes. It felt more like 10 minutes. Maybe that was just the film, or maybe that was just me not really keeping track of the time, but it did feel like in the end it kind of stretched itself out, even though it had this really good kind of time pressure aspect. They could have just made a little bit more time. Like why did it have to be 4 minutes? They could have said 10 minutes. Who knows? But that just kind of soured the ending. Overall, I liked the film. The ending had a little bit of a sour note to me, but overall I thought it was a really good film, and I really loved the journey going there. So that's C for me. It's a new approach on kind of a tried and true horror premise with a really great performance and just a really solid horror setup. So you can check it out in theaters and on demand on January 7th, 2021. And thanks so much for watching. If you liked this review, please like and subscribe to this channel. It helps me out a lot. Make sure all my new content goes straight to you. And please check out my other content. I've got other movie reviews, interviews, unboxing videos, and weekly movie recommendations. Thank you.